Thank you very much. And now we're going to have another panel discussion right away. And I'm sure it will definitely concern anyone involved, as we will speak about the COVID-19 influence on the industry. Thank you, panel members. You can get back to your seats. Thank you very much. Now, the panel, the name of the panel is Sourcing Issues. The panel discussion, Global Supply Chains and COVID-19 Influence. Is there a chance for Latvia? Yes, thank you. You can get back to your seats. Thank you. There are more than 350 investor companies with a foreign capital in Latvia. How are they now? Are they satisfied with, and what do the foreign buyers think about the present COVID-19 influence? I would like to welcome our panel members, and they are all joining us live. So we will start with the Vice President Operation at ANDRITZ Soutec, Mr. Christoph Wittwer. Yes. Can you wave, please, Mr. Wittwer? So we can, yes, we can see you, and probably we can hear you as well. We welcome CEO of East Metal, Mr. Flemming Rasmussen. Welcome. And also joining us, Mr. Jaakko Ruohoniemi, who's the sourcing manager at Bronto, Skylift. Also, the director at Category Management Pulp and Energy Business Line, Valmet, Mr. Keijo Kivimäki. All right, wonderful. So I guess we have 3 panel members here joining, and probably we will have the 4th one joining just shortly. All right, but before we start the discussion, I would like to remind, of course, our viewers that you have a chance, especially if you're watching this forum live on Zoom, then you have an option to ask questions to our panel members. And you have the link and also the ID number at the top corner of your screen. Use the Slido link to ask questions, and we will definitely address them to our panel members. First, please tell us how things changed for your business when COVID-19 virus first broke out around the world, and how it affected your business. Mr. Wittwer, could you start, please?
Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for your introduction. It was end of last year. I think we all read in newspapers there is a virus outbreak in China. And since we are internationally operative, we had some projects ongoing in Jiangsu province, that's north of Shanghai. And of course, we were pretty early involved in those discussions. What are we going to do with the site crew? So basically in January, we decided, since the outbreak and the virus spread out pretty fast, we took all the people back. And so we had to stop our activities on site. We had to stop projects. Beginning of February, the same happened in Europe on our projects. End of February, beginning of March, it happened in overseas. So basically mid of March, we had to retreat all our people. They were back in Switzerland. Luckily, or fortunate to our order intake situation, we had sufficient work in Switzerland for other projects we had to assemble. But we can say for more or less 2 to 3 months, we had to completely stop on-site activities because of the COVID situation and travel restriction we were confronted.
All right, thank you very much. Before we continue, Mr. Jaakko Ruohoniemi, if you can hear us, there's something in front of your webcam. That's just a technical detail. Then we will definitely see you. Please, Mr. Rasmussen, could you share your initial thoughts and at the moment when the virus broke out?
I think we were in a situation where a lot of our suppliers, our customers, they also have supply chains in China. And of course, they had to do something differently. So we took the approach and said we will support them in whatever needs they have. So we had a very busy first half year due to this Corona situation. So that's our take on it. And so we are supporting their business in Europe as good as we can.
Mm-hmm. And Mr. Kivimäki, please. No, we can't hear you, unfortunately. Try it again, please. Continue speaking, then we will make sure that we actually hear you. No, there's no audio. We can see you nicely. We can see you trying to fix the problem. I hope.
Okay.
Now we see.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Excellent.
Thank you.
So, yes, hello everybody. I'm Keijo Kivimäki from Valmet Technologies, and we have our supply chain globally in the world, and of course this COVID situation caused a lot of gray hair for us. So meaning first starting in China, there were disruptions in the supply chain, and of course when the authorities closed the factories in China, then we had to kind of find out the way to get the supplies for our projects. But luckily the outbreak wasn't so long, so we were able to survive. And then after that, actually India, the same happened there as well. So the factories were shut down, and we had some problems with the deliveries, but in this kind of a long-term project business, you are able to eliminate some of the delays within projects, and I think that helped us in during these actions. And after that, there has been, of course, some delays and breaks in our supply chain. But I would say that those Chinese and Indian breaks were the most difficult, but now seems to be more that the supply chain is more stabilized at the moment.
Okay, and we welcome Mr. Jaakko Ruohoniemi. Welcome. Could you share your thoughts and at the moment when the virus broke out, what happened to your company? How did it change things?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. If I share some slides also, maybe it's easier to illustrate what is happening in Bronto side. Maybe you know that already know about a little bit about the Bronto Skylift as a global market leader for fire rescue and industrial truck mounted aerials. So basically we do have 50 models, and we are reaching the working height from the 17 up to 112 meters. So basically what we faced during the couple of months ago, it was some showstoppers. So some of the components, they were delayed mostly in Europe, some of the trucks also a bit. And I would say that what is maybe the biggest impact has been related to all kind of restrictions what we have all have faced, and especially the traveling. It is now we need to do things remotely as today, and luckily the digitalization has improved in many aspects the situation and like web cameras, etc. But that is in overall situation for every companies, and as we are based in Finland, in Tampere, we have also another main factory in Pori. On top of that, subsidiaries in Sweden, Germany, Switzerland, and US. So we are a global player in that respect. But so far so good. I would say that things could be worse. Okay, shortly.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Tell us about some crucial restrictions that either in Latvia or globally that hit your business the most and affected the supply chains the most, and how did you manage actually to continue, and what did you change in your day-to-day work? Of course, working from home, maybe some employees going home, or just about the regular work that you needed to continue, but just share your thoughts about the restrictions that happened in your country or globally, please. Mr. Rasmussen, for example.
Yeah, you know, we are primarily located here in Latvia, and the headquarters is in Denmark. So it was a difficult situation for us to mitigate running the business with nearly 670 people in Latvia and the headquarters in Denmark. But of course we have to find ways, because we can't sit down and wait. And I think everybody was expecting that it was disappearing in a very short period of time. But frankly speaking, I think it has changed the way we are doing business as of today. A lot of processes has been changed. We are much more digitalized in the way we do stuff today and the way we are acting within our company, but also together with our customers. Mm-hmm. So of course we are mitigating, and I think everybody hopes that it will disappear shortly, and it will bring, let's say, a more stable level of business environment back, and which I'm hoping for. So we have tried everything, and again, internally, all the processes on avoiding, let's say, the COVID disease inside the factories has also been a very big task force, and we have managed so far, and we haven't delayed anything due to the corona situation. So I'm pretty satisfied, but it has been tough. And in particular, when you are operating on a global scale like we are, then of course you need to do things in a completely new way. So it has been tough.
Thank you, Mr. Ruohoniemi.
Yeah, I would say that in Bronto Skylift, we have recently, let's say, sharpened our strategy, and that means in practice that we are parallelly investigating new supply chains, which is of course more challenging when there is no restrictions. But as my colleague already mentioned, we need to find the ways, and one of the big benefit has been the digitalization. So for instance, if we try to move some structural parts to another new supplier, and of course we have drawings and instructions and things like that. But on top of that, it normally needs also some assistance on site at the new location, which means in practice that you need to find a way. So like a web cameras is one of the way to do welding inspections and things like that, and that helps a lot. But it's not exactly the same way as being beside and giving guidance as such.
Thank you, Mr. Wittwer, please.
Well, we were, I would say, quite lucky. We are sourcing mainly in Central Europe and Eastern countries, and we had some, I would say, delivery issues with the Lombardia when they shut down north of Italy, but it didn't have a big impact. Mainly we could source all the material we needed for the projects. We have, I would say, a good established supply chain within Central Europe, and well, of course, we are not able to travel. There is more communication via video conference, but if you have established suppliers, I think there is still possible to go on. I think at the end, you can't stick your head in the sand. You have to find new ways how you cope with the situation, and that's what we did. We even source automation modules in Latvia, since we have established suppliers. There is a good communication ways. There is trust in what they are doing, and so there was no reason not to proceed.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And Mr. Kivimäki, think about the day-to-day work, what changed?
I guess the biggest change was the restrictions on traveling, so you were not able to see the customers or suppliers, so both were stopped quite fast, and what was not familiar, typical to us to have this negotiations via remote connection. So that was of course the first thing buyers and salesmen needed to kind of learn and start doing those negotiations through the remote, and then what of course causes the challenge is to when you are not able to visit the suppliers, then you are not able to easily do the inspections or such. So then there has been kind of development of this remote services to do the inspections and see through the video also some of the products manufactured. So that was something, and I think there is still potential on that area to even further develop that approach. And then one of the things where this when we were starting up our plants and machines at the customer site, so people were not able to go and travel there, so then we had the kind of cooperation with our customers to how to start up and how help them to start up the factories. So that is of course was a really big step for us to do it with the remote as well. So many things changed quite quickly to the remote, and I think that will be also somehow in the future. So if you look it from the company point of view, there is a quite big amount of savings actually coming due to this less traveling, and now we are thinking, for instance, that okay, who are the people that needs to travel and who are kind of co-team there at the home base to support then the travelers, so that all the team does not need to travel anymore in the future. So, but that is something that has changed now, and I think it's a positive change.
Okay, and with these changes in mind, could you share? For example, let's imagine it's 2018 or 19. We're living in a wonderful world with no COVID-19, but at the same time, what things would remain the same in your business and day-to-day work after? For example, it doesn't matter if the vaccine goes out or the virus fades out and we're back to normal. Like in 2018, if you're back to normal, what things would remain in your company because of these changes that you've experienced? Ruohoniemi, please. You have to unmute yourself.
Oh, yeah,
yes,
yeah.
Thank you.
Okay,
yeah.
yes, okay, yes. Well, this is a good question. What will remain? Because what I personally believe is that the digitalization has given us lots of opportunities, and actually it has been boosted after the corona, and that is something what I believe will remain. So like my colleague Mr. Kivimäki mentioned, less traveling. Is it really necessary to travel, or can we utilize the digitalizations given opportunities better in the future? That is one question. The other question is what was actually mentioned already earlier, that other companies going to inshore. I mean, that is good question in my risk. I think it's a good question. So currently, many companies, they are buying from the Asian market, but will that be a little bit lower portion? Should we buy a little bit closer, like in the European supply chains, instead of like balancing the risk as well? So these kind of things, I'm sure will be popping up in the company's management, that how we assess our risk management in the future.
Thank you, Mr. Wittwer, please.
Well, as my colleague said, I think travel behavior, they will for sure, they will change. Of course, certain jobs, you have to go on site. We are installing machines. There is even the thinking that we establish more local stuff to educate them, that we have less dependence on traveling. This could be one of the countermeasures for the future. We never sourced much in Far East or in overseas. There is certain local content, but this is more consumables which are needed for those systems. Since we have technically quite ambitious automation modules, we rather prefer to source them within Europe, and we have to do acceptance. Of course, travel restriction will not make it easier, but I hope as soon as there is vaccinations available, that the situation will somehow normalize again, that a certain amount of traveling is possible. Even setting up new suppliers is, of course, it's difficult to do that only via a video conference. You need to see a company, you need to understand the abilities of any suppliers, you need to discuss. Up to a certain amount, you can do that via video, but I think there is, of course, also certain limitations. So we are looking forward if the whole situation will somehow normalize again.
Thank you. Before we continue, I want to remind again to our viewers that you have an option to ask a question to our panel members. Use the Slido link at the top right corner of your screen, and using that link you can ask a question and make sure that you address it and type down to whom it is addressed. We continue. So we've talked about how things changed, and of course the whole topic is quite a gloomy one, all right? Like with some blues, sad music in background. It's COVID and its supply chains are broken and there's some serious issues. But what has changed for good? I heard that some of your companies actually, or some of you have like job and new customers and new clients like never before, and you actually you're just working. It's just hard work and success for the business. So Mr. Kivimäki, could you share, or Rasmussen, please?
I'll try to share I'll try to share my presentation then, because I'm touching upon some of the topics here.
Yeah.
If it works.
Yes, we can see it. Thank you.
Yes, of course, I think we have passed the introduction of me, but just to outline, let's say, East Metal, where we are and what is it that we are doing. We have four factories all in all, and 3 of them are located here in Latvia. So we are a very large player. 650 employees, and you can see the revenue as described, and we are a large supplier into the bigger OEMs. And I see, let's say, the COVID situation as a challenge, rather than something that will break things apart. This is a very typical, let's say, supply chain towards the industry that we are serving. And I think a lot of this will change over time. And I think COVID has only been an accelerator to some of the changes that I foresee for the future anyway. Because it will change for sure. And I think the meaning of the first, let's say, trend that I'm outlining here, the dual sourcing, will have a completely new meaning. As I mentioned in my introduction, a lot of my big clients, they had also very large supply chains in China. And I think the meaning of dual sourcing will have will become an advantage for Eastern Europe in general, because I think they will start to design new architectures where dual sourcing will include more than one continent. So in the past, I think a lot of my customers, they have maybe 2 suppliers in China, and that was their perception of dual sourcing. So I see if we do this right, then Eastern Europe could become, let's say, the third alternative to the supply chain that is already in place. And as I understand my customers, the reduction of the complexity, is also a very key focus for the future supply chains. And that means that they will pool a lot to less suppliers. And that could also be a way of how we should, let's say, address future trends and how we can gain competitiveness. Just to give you an example, I had a very good discussion with one of my very big accounts. And he said to me, Flemming, instead of we are competing on price, shouldn't we then just compete on the supply chain and the attached logistic costs? And I think if we take approaches like this, there are many opportunities if we do things right also in Eastern Europe. And cash generation is also a very hard topic as we speak. A lot of my customers, they want to have a less complex supply chain. And I'm in process of insourcing a lot of products and also processes from their side. So how should we win? Yeah, it's of course it's depending on who you are, and I'm not the expert on all industries, but I think it's important that we select our ways instead of focusing on everything. And this is a strategy model that I'm using, let's say, designing the future of East Metal. To me, operational excellence is a prerequisite to stay in business. We are initiating a lot of investments here in Latvia as we speak, even robots for welding, highly automated, let's say, equipment to replace some hard labor work. And to me, we have to become even higher in the level of competitiveness. So, but unfortunately, it won't drive, let's say, the journey that I'm on. And I would like to outline, let's say, our engagement towards our customers. And that's where I think we can gain the rest of the competitiveness that might be required out of Eastern Europe if we should compete against the Asian supply chains. I think the relation towards customers, early engagement, we understand each other, and we have talked a lot about, let's say, the cultural differences that we have. And it is much easier to talk to people that where there's some kind of similarities in the way we understand each other. So this is a very high focus for me on how we should address our customer relation focus towards our future potential customers. Unfortunately, I'm a sub-supplier, so I don't have products on my shelf, so to speak, but it's quite obvious that I'm also working on the value proposition that I'm offering to the market. I think it's important that we are delivering a full supply chain to the extent that is possible, and thereby we can onboard a lot of opportunities, like I was mentioning, pooling products from some of my larger accounts, and thereby take out, let's say, logistic costs. Mm-hmm. This is a very important slide for me, and I think if we don't have any products that have an impact towards our customers, then it will be a dead horse, so to speak. So I think to reach such a level, we need to engage earlier with our customers. We need to do it in a way so product development will be a part of it. We have to make systems instead of products, and thereby we can move to the level of reaching some kind of a strategic partnership. I know it's difficult, but I would rather be on a very difficult journey than staying in the dead hole, so to speak. And that's why new technologies like assembling customer products in a steel manufacturer is a part of our strategy, and thereby we can, as I said, reduce the complexity in our customer supply chain and thereby become the preferred partner. So I think we need to act differently and not only compete on price and compete on products, but we have to compete on solutions instead of just do things the old-fashioned way. And I'll just share one of my slides from my strategy plan inside East Metal. And that's, I think it's pretty obvious for everyone that we are foreseeing a very big shift in our company, going from a steel company to a smart company, and also bear in mind that we are going from products to solutions. And we simply have to enrich, let's say, the products and the solutions to the extent that we want. And one of the tools to do so is also early engagement in product development. I have a very large engineering team sitting here in Latvia, and I'm offering them also to our customers and to design, let's say, products that are suited for manufacturing in the years to come. So if I should outline, let's say, my recommendation in this 3-minute speech, I think we all have to accept the need for change. The way we did it in the past will not happen again. And who can predict the future? We have talked about, let's say, COVID suddenly arrives, and we need to be fast, and we need to adapt to all the new changes. And we need to secure, let's say, available resources. And I know that Latvia has lost 800,000 of your population since you entered into EU. But it's important for me to underline the importance of be open-minded, because a large proportion of the workers that I have inside my 3 factories come from foreign countries. So this is also a way to regain some of the resources and the capacity that a small country like Latvia needs to work on. And we have to be easy to work with, and that covers both us as an organization, but also, let's say, from a government standpoint. So the minute that we want to do something and we want to invest, and then I would like to send a strong message to all authorities in Latvia that support it, because it's highly needed. And if we do things together, then I think there's a great future. And again, we have to think on a global scale, because we are all connected one way or the other, and see all the implications that came out of COVID. And that's why our mindset needs to be on the global scale. And I always prefer to have a plan, and that also always will bring better results. And for sure, we in East Metal have a very strong plan in front of us. We have high expectations, we have high goals, we have high ambitions, and we believe that the way we do stuff, the way we can interact with our customers on a European scale, will also have a bright future in front of us. So, as we say, we want to be a big part of the solution.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I want to ask Mr. Kivimäki, please tell us more about Valmet.
Okay, I have a short introduction here regarding Valmet as well. Can you see my screen now?
Give us a second.
Not yet.
Just a moment.
Just a second. Just a second.
Not yet.
Maybe not.
Yes, it's coming up on our screens, and full screen, and yes, thank you.
Okay, so Valmet is we are making process technologies for our customers in pulp and energy business, and also automation systems and different kind of let's say services as well. And our offering is, we are worldwide offering all over, and our let's say net sales is about 3.5 billion, and the profit 9%. And you can see basically from this slide that in the markets we are either number 1 to 3 where we are present, and we are, let's say, globally executing our projects and services in all the areas. So, and in the next slide you can see one of our projects that we are working today. This is a pulp mill project in Kemi, Finland. So together with our customers we are building up a pulp mill, taking in wood and making it into bark, cooking, taking out the glue of it, and maybe making the pulp, and that's then ready for the paper or container board or tissue making then after the processing the raw materials. This is an example of the pulp mill, the kind of deliverables out, or key numbers you could say from the pulp mill in Kemi that it will manage then. And then, okay, I had also some of the COVID topics here listed down for I think many of those we have actually gone through. Maybe some of the aspects I could say that first it was this kind of force majeure case in the contractual point of view, but now it's become a part of a normal business, as we all know it's there. Maybe lifting up some of the things here as well. So of course the on-site works in the projects, we have hundreds of people working on site, making constructions, and that is really one of the challenges there, that when there are several COVID cases, how to handle that kind of situation, how to work together with our customers to limit the spreading, and also how to make the evacuation plans there on those cases. So that is something which is really difficult in this kind of situation. Yeah, maybe other topics have been already discussed, so so this is something.
Thank you.
Shortly about Valmet.
And also, Mr. Wittwer, share your presentation about ANDRITZ Soutec, please.
Yes, of course. I will also try to catch up with the presentation. So.
It's coming up, thank you.
Okay.
Yes, it's full screen, yeah.
Full screen, well. Actually, ANDRITZ is a globally leading supplier of plants, equipment, systems and services for the pulp and paper industry. Actually, you don't see the next slide now, it should come. The metalworking and steel industry, we're building hydropower stations and the solid liquid separation in the municipal and the industrial sector, as well as for animal feed and biomass pelleting. Headquarters is based in Graz. We do have more than 280 production sites worldwide, and we employ roughly 30,000 employees. ANDRITZ Soutec belongs to the metals division. We are located in close to Zurich. We are a leading company in laser welding for flat and round product steel applications. You can see on the right, small pictures on the right side, we actually weld. We unroll coils, blanket, and then it's getting laser welded. These are applications mainly for white body applications from cars. Idea is to increase safety, lower weight, optimize costs, and therefore we actually offer different kind of automation system. Since we are specialized in developing systems and assembly, the main items in Switzerland, we are actually we completely purchase items. We source everything in, as I said before, in Central Europe or in Europe in general, Eastern Europe. As you can see on the right side, we do have a lot of automation modules. You know, when I was first time in Latvia in 2007, there were a lot of metalworking factories. I think in the meantime, they really developed skills. They invested much more in education, and I completely support what Flemming said before. I think it's operational excellence is the key to go on and to establish more competences in terms of assembly of higher mechanical goods on more precise goods, electrical skills, So it's not easy to find companies who have all those skills. Even engineering skills are not everywhere. You know, there is still a lot of manufacturers. They are, let's say, they manufacture parts based on drawings, and I think we wanted to go the way that we manufacture complete automation modules. We go up, we do acceptance, and then we ship the goods pretty often direct to our project site overseas or Far East. And I think it's for us important to think sustainable. So we're not going to push that, but we wanted to steadily increase the number of suppliers being able to manufacture those goods. And we wanted to do that on a trustful relation with the suppliers. I think it's important that they understand what is the quality requirement from our side. First time right, we wanted to support them, and I think that need to be the way. And I'm confident that Latvian companies will further develop, and yes, that's, I think, the right way to go. So as we said before, I think the challenges are clear. We wanted to support the suppliers since we have these travel restrictions. It's difficult. Hopefully the situation will normalize. But I think for us it makes it really important to work with reliable suppliers. Of course, I mean, if we are looking, it's not just the quality, it's even on time, the commitment which we expect from those companies, that you keep commitments. And of course, price is an issue as well. I think nobody's going east if he does not really have a certain price advantage. I don't want to say the word low cost, I don't like that, but it needs to be a good price performance relation.
Thank you, Mr. Wittwer. Mr. Ruohoniemi, the next question I would like to address it to you about we have talked about the slight changes in a supply chain, and do you see some opportunities for Latvian companies to have a bigger bite in the whole pie, kind of in an industry, and with these changes, with some virus in China, for example?
Okay, yeah. Well, I'm not that big player, or representing not that big player, but on the other hand, I'm also consulting. What I have discovered actually in Latvia, I have visited quite many candidates, let's put it that way, and sometimes I see very excellent good candidates if I'm talking about a new supplier or new supply chains, and also the experience or knowledge level is rather high, I would say, or even better than expected. But then the mindset point of view, I really would like to appreciate Mr. Flemming's sentences, because there are such similarities, I would say, from the strategy point of view, which I could support. And one of the things what Bronto Skylift is actually searching or evaluating is to go further with the value chain. It's not only the components. It's actually when we are talking about aerials, so we would like to have a sub assemblies, maybe bigger assemblies, and that is the status at the moment in Bronto. In my previous life, of course, I worked with several other companies, bigger ones as well, and they might have been a bit step ahead, and my intention in that respect is also spread that kind of mindset for Bronto, and there's a willingness to do it. But the restrictions, what we talked about, they will remain for a while. It's likely to happen, and we need to live with those which is sometimes slowing the process as such. But okay, I'm sure we have not utilized all the opportunities yet, and personally I feel that Latvia has a great opportunity to extend the business opportunities with other countries and also maybe internally as well.
Thank you. Mr. Rasmussen, your thoughts, what Latvian companies should do more? What are maybe some key mistakes that companies do making new connections and new clients?
I think it will be very unfair to me to say something about mistakes, because I'm not the judge, but I can only, let's say, underline what I believe is the right strategy. And I think we have all opportunities to engage early in the design phase and become a part of that, and thereby have a much closer relation to customers. And again, we have to stay longer in the life cycle curve together with customers on their products. And we can only do that by understanding, let's say, the needs, and also securing that we have the right plan in place to secure, let's say, the product excellence that I've been talking about. So I think early engagement, making sure that we are offering the right solution, and that's not only products, but it can also be competences. So we are engaging on a much earlier stage, also when it comes to design, and have a very close dialogue with your customers, and thereby understanding them and create relations and business cases where the relation can stay for years. I think that would be my recommendation anyway.
As you know, gentlemen, the COVID-19 cases in Latvia has been one of the lowest in the whole world. And how and did this fact affect your business and I don't know, maybe conversations with your colleagues? Did you feel more secure about the future business options here in Latvia? And could you reflect on it, please, Mr. Wittwer?
Well, as you see, one of the changes where I'm participating on that forum via video conference, not on site. Well, as I said, we are not able to do evaluation of suppliers. Of course, this is slowing down strategy, sourcing strategy to remove more items to other countries. It doesn't make the situation easier to do on-site support to the suppliers. Everything has to be done via telephone, video conference. This, of course, does not help to speed up, but I mean, it doesn't help. We have to cope with the situation. We can't change it. The faster we get used to it, I think the faster we start to act normal and to think in a normal way and find solutions. I mean, that's the way. We need to find solutions how to cope, and so far we found ways. I mean, we had in China a system where we had guys on site. They didn't have the experience. Everybody said it's not possible to commission the line. Finally, we did it over video conference. It took more time on one side. On the other side, we had much less travel cost. So everybody who said it's not possible, it's wrong. So I think there are ways, and if you try to find a solution and see the solution and not just think about the problem, then of course you will be successful and go on into the future.
Mm-hmm. Maybe, gentlemen, any one of you want to share your thoughts about the fact about the cases in Latvia, and then did it do any kind of weigh on your decision making, you know, talking with the colleagues? Hey, in Latvia They are doing pretty well considering all the other maybe countries. Anyone? No, yeah, okay. So we're going to round it up. We have a minute left, and I want to ask maybe each of you a final conclusion and wishes for your colleagues in the industry. Mr. Ruohoniemi, please.
Could you repeat once again?
Your wishes to the colleagues in future in the industry.
Well, wishes to the colleagues. I think for me, even though I'm a speaker here, there's been always a learning points. I mean, you have strengthened the things what you have spread out, and boosted also the courage. I mean, regardless, we have a corona virus pandemic ongoing. That is a temporary thing. We need to look at in the future, and I believe we all have a bright future.
Thank you. Mr. Kivimäki.
I would like to lift up the kind of the importance of the relationship. Still, even we have had this COVID situation, and that is also shown that when you have a good relationships, you can manage the things and you get the prioritization. And on top of that, I think what Flemming said also, it's about to kind of find out the competitiveness together with the customer. So finding out what extra could be done, not just kind of be happy with the inquiry and content, but kind of try to find out the deeper and find out the competitiveness, how to build it up even more. So be active and specialized. So I think that's the key to kind of build up the long-term relationships with the companies.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wittwer, please.
Me as a client, I think invest in education. This is the key for the future. Invest in education of young people. Work together with university, combine practical, theoretical education, and I think this is, then you have a bright future.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And finally, Mr. Rasmussen, please.
Yeah, I'll put it this way. I think it's important that we are always prepared, because nobody can predict what will happen. And so I think solid plans and where we are mitigating risks and we are seeking opportunities every day. That's at least my take on how a successful company should be worked upon. So that's my take on it.
Thank you, gentlemen, for spending some time with me and the rest of the forum participants. Thank you for sharing your thoughts and your success on your companies. Thank you very much. I wish you great success in the future. Thank you very much. Stay safe and